Hi everyone, it's me, Coffeestitcher. It is December the 7th. This begins the second week of Advent for those who observe. It begins the second week of December for those who don't observe. I hope everyone had a lovely, for those who observe Thanksgiving, hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. If you don't observe Thanksgiving, well then, hey, I hope you have had a lovely 2 weeks since I saw you last. I'm sorry, buddy. This is episode 15. This, if I have my calendar dates correct, is the next to last video before the end of the year. Because I'll record again on the 21st, and then the next time we'll be back will be in January. So only this video and one more to go, and we'll be into a new year, which is both exciting, terrifying, weird, you know, the way that stuff always goes. But I hope everyone is doing well. We've got a fair amount of things to show you this week. We've got 2 new starts, as well as a story to go along with one of the new starts. Yes, we do. I don't know if you can hear Asher, but he's very chatty this evening. We've got Whipgo for December. We've got a second Monopoly board that I'm doing, so I'm going to show you the projects that are different between that board and this one. A little bit of felt update, a little bit of mentions, yeah, so we will get right into it. So for those of you who are brand new to the channel, my name is Garrett. I am Coffeestitcher on Instagram, and here, obviously. I've been stitching for about 14 years. No, not 14. I started stitching in 14. I've been stitching for about 11 years. And at the time, the trend was to take your handle from what you, like your big hobby, if it was other than stitching, or for what you did, and I managed Starbucks at the time. So, Coffeestitcher. And, yeah, so I'm going to show you whip updates and all sorts of good stuff. First off, I'm going to give some shout-outs. First to Becca is Stitching, who is doing Halloween on Hawk Run Hollow on a purple fabric, and it's stunning. Like, it's absolutely stunning. Like, it changes the whole tone of the piece. Like, it is chef's kiss. So I highly recommend checking her out. She's doing a very interesting conversion with it, so it's kind of cool to see her talk about and see what her changes are going to be. Is it a piece, and I've seen several of them completed in person at my former LNS. It is a really cool piece that I have zero interest in ever stitching, because it is a lot of stitches. But I enjoy watching other people do it, so definitely check out Becca is Stitching. She also has a lot of other really cool projects. Like, she's good people. I watched Harvey Stitcher for the first time this week, who gave me a shout out, so I'm returning the shout out to her. Definitely encourage you to go check her out. She also has some really great projects. And then I met 2 people doing the speed whip dating at Jingle Ball this year. I am going to horribly mispronounce Dawn's handle, so we're just gonna say Dawn on Instagram. She and I chatted for a good amount of time yesterday and had a real good time chatting. I also met Lynn of Lynn Stitches and Such. I don't believe either of them have a floss tube, but I could be wrong. If you do, please let me know, but I'm almost positive Dawn doesn't. Lynn may. I don't know if we actually discussed that or not. But I had a good time chatting with Lynn last night as well. So yeah, so that was those are my little mentions and shout outs. Also another shout out to Stitcher Moose. I can't stress enough how great it is to see him making videos again. He was the OG of the dudes who stitch making floss tube videos. So he predates me even, if you can believe that. But yeah, if you haven't watched his videos, again, definitely go check those out. So yeah. All right, let's dive in to the whips. Whips stands for work in progress, and then obviously the S is plural. So you can have one whip, you can have two whips, you can have a trillion whips. All right, so what am I working on? Or what have I worked on? These are in no particular order, and I just realized that I left a project over there. So I'm going to very carefully extract myself to get to it. Best laid plans of mice and men, y'all. Play video. All right. I'm sorry, little man. I know, I'm making all sorts of noises. I'm doing all sorts of scary things. Okay. All right. So, yes, you're welcome to grouse. Okay, so let's see. So we worked on, I'm gonna put the new starts at the bottom. So we worked on, this is kind of reverse order, Sleepy Hollow by Cross-Eyed Cricket. This one is on a 32 count called Berry Smoothie by Shakespeare's Peddler. Fairly certain it is a linen because I see slubs. I don't do a lot on linen, but this is a big piece. And so the way I'm breaking up what I do on it, because see, here's the big, that's the entire length of the piece. So what I have done is it's a triptych. So it was originally designed to be 3 individual pieces that you would set up in sort of a gatefold fashion like that. But I'm doing it all in one because I know if I did it as a triptych, it would really never get fully finished. And so what I did is I've divided it into 3 sections. And every time it comes up for me to stitch on it, I use the random number generator to pick between 1, 2, and 3. If it's 1, I work on the left, 2, I work in the middle, 3, I work on the right. And this time, the number 1 was picked. And I did about 560 stitches this time. So I did most of that is in the roof up here, which I'm doing an old covered bridge from Gentle Arts. I added the bricks over here. And then I finished out the tree. So, or at least the branches and such of the tree. So, and this is going to eventually be the Von Tossel farm. And then the middle is the bridge with the Headless Horseman and good old Ichabod. And then over here is the church. And I did actually discover, I may have mentioned this last time, my bricks and that part of a gravestone there are actually 1 row too high. I think it was. It's either 1 row too high or 1 row too low. And I think, quite honestly, because that was really fairly easy, simple stitching, I think I'm just going to frog those stitches out and do them over again. But that'll be what I do the next time the piece comes out and the right side gets called. So there we have it with Sleepy Hollow. This is not going to be a quick fish. Quick fish. Whew, quick finish. Guess it's not really going to be a quick fish either. All right. All right. I worked on, this is by Robin Pickens. It is Sweater Weather Springtime Florals. It's on a 32 count green that I just had in my stash. I'm using a lot of botanical dyed floss for these. And I did not get the full stitch count that I spun, but I just wasn't quite in the mood the day that I was working on it. So, but I did at least get the leaves here and the start of the top little blocks, row of blocks. So here it is. The darker green is pine, which is one of the botanical dyed. So there we go. Not much to tell on that one. All right, then I know I had said I was probably going to go ahead and finish this one the next time it came out. But then I got in working on it, and I was like, no, I really need to, I've hit a good stop spot. I need to do something else. But it does mean that the next time this one comes out, it will be a finish. So parts 1 through 9 are complete on Under the Sea by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So here we are. So what I had left to do was I had this rock, the starfish, the sand that was over here, the title, and then initially I was originally going to go back and fill in, because I did half stitches on these little seaweed tubes, and I had some fuzzy stuff I was going to use. And while the fuzzy stuff looked great as an idea, when I started stitching it, it didn't look so great. But I decided I kind of liked them in the half stitches because it gave a little bit of depth to the seaweed. And since I've done half stitches in a few other spots for other things, I thought, you know what, it'll work that way. I did, however, add some fuzzy stuff to the anemone. And then I used, so my waves here were a blend of that color blue and this color. And so I decided for the title, I would do the blues individually. As you can probably see, I had another random rain down of whatever this stuff is from my Lowry. I've been using the corner clamp. So the corner clamp is now in timeout because I'm tired of it. I've been stitching with the corner clamp the same amount of time I stitched with my side clamp. My side clamp has never given me that problem. So I put the side clamp back on, and quite honestly, with the Nurges, the side clamp I actually think works better. So I'm no longer using the corner clamp. This is on Many Waters by Ship's Manor. So it's closing in. We are almost to a finish. So the next time it comes out, I just have this little part here, which basically matches the part up here. And then it's done. And then I'll go ahead and show you, because I just went ahead and left it in the bag, so I thought, well, might as well. Then the next one up, when I finish that, is going to be Frosted Pumpkins Chinese Zodiac, which, interestingly enough, had the same number of stitches left in this as Under the Sea did when I started the month of November. Literally the exact same number of stitches. So that's what I've got left of that. So I've essentially got here just finish out the rooster, 2 more animals, and then this corner. And then it's done. So, well, and then some beads. I've got gold beads I was going to add in a couple of places. So, gold beads first. And I may actually go in on Under the Sea, because I've got some beading to do on Under the Sea as well. So, but I'm definitely looking forward to having a finish on that. So, and then we have to decide, do I want to start their new stitch along? Or do I want to go back and finish one of the other Frosted Pumpkin patterns that I've got started? Because I've got, I think, the Winter Band sampler. I've got the Winter Band sampler. I've got the Midnight Way. And I've got Maple Avenue going. So, yes, that's right, buddy. Yeah. All right. And then, yeah. So the next up are going to be 2 new starts. So the first one I'm going to show you was a new start because it was what my Monopoly piece landed on, which meant I needed to do 500 stitches because I bought the property. Now, I ended up having to do 503 stitches because I finished out a good spot, and it was at 499. So I had to do one more color that I didn't necessarily plan to do just yet, but I did to get me over the hump. So this is by Glory Be Designs. And this is on a remnant of fabric, but I have gone the full width of the design now. And that's where I got on it. So there's a turtle in the middle, 2 starfish, and 2 regular fish, and then part of a wave. So really have enjoyed this one. It will probably end up on my regular rotation after Under the Sea is done and after another couple of things are done, but it is on both. No, it's not. It's only on one Monopoly board because it's a new start. So there's a chance this one may come back out again during Monopoly. And I don't have a project bag for it yet. I do. There's plenty back there. I set it to the side on my table and then forgot about it. Quite honestly, that's what happened. These things happen. All right. Now, the next one has a story behind it. So, you may remember back at the end of October, I was going to start Sleepy Hollow and a map of Narnia. And then I realized, or found out, that the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, this is its 75th anniversary. And so I thought, oh, great, I'll start that on December 1st instead. That's like a good tie-in. Well, as we got closer and closer to December 1st, and by closer and closer to December 1st, I mean that day, I was looking more at the pattern more and more and really was not enjoying the idea of it. Not the idea of it, because I would love to do a map of Narnia. I would really love to do a whole lot of, I'd love to do a map of the 100 Acre Wood and Oz and, any of the big fairy tale worlds, fantasy worlds other than Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, because I really don't care for either of those two. I would love to stitch maps of them. But the more I was looking at it, the more I realized that the map was based off of the 2005 Disney adaptation, which I don't care for. For me, the 88 BBC series is always going to be my favorite. There are elements I do like about the 2005. I think James McAvoy, Dawn French, and Liam Neeson were perfect casting. For the most part, I like the 4 kids. Tilda Swinton was a major misstep, and to me, if you don't get the White Witch correct, you don't have as much of a film as you should. And Tilda Swinton was a misstep, in my opinion. I normally love her. So don't think I'm like anti-Tilda, because I do. I like Tilda Swinton, but she's just not right for the White Witch. And so the more I was looking at it, the more I realized that, and it was like, to get it tweaked to the way I would want it to look is going to be more work than I really want to put in on this. So then I decided, let me find another Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like another Narnia pattern out there. And I found a couple that I did like, and they were on Etsy, but one of them was at a price I really didn't want to pay, and the others just weren't on Etsy. So I found them on another site, but the other site didn't want to work with PayPal. Like, it wouldn't let my PayPal log in, and I started getting weird feelings about it, so I just thought, maybe not. So I went with the one that I'm going to show you here momentarily. It's by Anastasia, Slavina, and it is a silhouette of, it's the silhouette outline of Mr. Tumnus with Lucy discovering the lamppost. And technically it's Lucy in the costume from the 2005 film, but quite honestly, it's not all that dissimilar from Lucy in the 88 version either. So we're just going to go with it. I put in about 600 stitches. This is on Bankrolls by Fortnite Fabrics. And, yeah. Good luck. Well, I guess actually it's showing up much better here than it kind of does in person right now. 600 some odd stitches of white and 2 other shades of very light blue and 1 blend of light blue. Blob of snow. But that's okay. The next, it's one that is going to go into the full rotation. So we'll be getting some more love in on that. But yeah, so I didn't actually start on the 1st because I had a work event that night. And so it was like, oh, well, I'm gonna, I guess, start on Tuesday. And so that's what I did. And then what I'm currently working on is my Over the Garden Wall sampler. I am blanking on the name of the designer, but I've got my Notion here so I can look it up. But here's where I'm at on it so far after working on it today. So I got Wirt's hat finished, and Wirt's hat, it's got the elder trees wrapping themselves around it. So it's towards the end of the story that this is actually taking place. And it is by Cozy Mouse Stitchery. And it's just on a random fabric piece that I had in my stash using DMC. So I added the hat and I added 1 piece of candy. And I've got about 500 stitches more to go because I think maybe closer to 4 now. But so since this is where I've got my Nerge, I'm gonna work down and work on the frog that's below them. So yeah. All right. So that is whip updates. All right. So let's talk about Whipgo. So the last month of Whipgo was obviously chosen. And this time I will be working on Cauldron Repair. Actually, I'm basically just having a repeat of last month. So Cauldron Repair. So 750 stitches on that. I do believe this time we will finish the cauldron. I hope. And then I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go after that. We'll see. But that's where I'm at on it so far. So. And then the other one is going to be Universal Monsters by the Witchy Stitcher. And so 750 on this one, which means I finally have to make a decision on the moon and what I want to do with it. Because the rooftop is done. I say that. What I may very well do is come down and work on one of the rooms and then come back and decide about the moon. Because I still don't know. Like, I think I want to do... It's a lot of stitches, but I think I want to do the skull moon. I'm not sure that I want to do it in the oranges to be like a blood skull moon. I thought about maybe doing it in like a in 2 tones of purple, because I thought that could be really cool, but I think that might be a little weird. And I thought about doing it in green, but that might also be sort of weird and make it look too much like the Wizard of Oz's head. So I could do it in white tones, which I think would be effective. Could do it in yellows. That would also, I think, be potentially effective. So I don't really know. So if anyone has any thoughts or comments about how I should do the moon, please, by all means, throw them out there, because I will definitely take all the guidance and help that I can get. So, and this is on Nessie from Under the Sea Fabrics. All right. So that is Whipgo. Now, next is, I'll show y'all I'm doing another another Monopoly board. So what I did was I pulled off Meditation Garden by Jan Hicks, because I have a few too many florally things going, and the last couple times it's come up, I just went, no, I don't. Let me spend something different. So I think I'm just a little bit at burnout on florally patterns. So I replaced it on there. So the piece that was an active whip. So Narnia replaced it. And then there was one other that I pulled off. Which was it? Oh, I pulled off Heart and Hands Blooming Town and replaced it with Zephyr Hill, which is by Summer House Stitchworks. And I'm stitching it on Incoming Storm by Under the Sea Fabrics. So I will, I don't have the covers picked out for this one yet. I don't think. I might actually, because it was a whip parade. So it actually very well may be in there. So, but I'll hold it up and show you this time. So it's this one. And this is where I am on it. So I've got all of the border on one side and up a corner. So yeah. So that one replaced, like I said, that one replaced the Blooming Town, because it's barely started enough that I really kind of felt like it was a new start. And again, it's kind of florally. And then Narnia replaced Meditation Garden. And then what I did as well was I swapped out the ones that were new starts to make them board specific. So the new starts that we're gonna have, we've got the Tiny Modernist Fairy Tales. My plan is I'm gonna do this all on one piece of fabric, so there's a border that I don't have a picture of. So I'll do the border, and that may be all that actually gets done at this point. But then we've got the different, there is Hansel and Gretel, and it's only the tops of the pincushions that get stitched. Little Red Riding Hood with Grandmama Wolf. The Little Mermaid and Sebastian. Pinocchio with the Good Fairy and, is it Jiminy Cricket, and is that Cleo? Figaro and Cleo? Is that the... I have not seen Pinocchio. Aladdin with Jasmine and the Magic Carpet and the Lamp. I don't think... Yeah, Abu and Raja, and then Abu as a elephant are on the sides, but the genie's not actually present. Then we've got Cinderella. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and Wendy. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And then Sleeping Beauty and Prince Philip. I don't think Maleficent appears, but the fairies do. Yeah, the other fairies do. So that's going to be a new start. It's one I don't intend to fully kit up. It's going to be more of a kit as I go because of the different elements of it all. All right, then this one, I call it Russian Chicken because it's a Russian designer, I believe. It's Anna Gatova, and this is it. So it's kind of like the one for Mr. Tumnus, but it's a chicken instead with a farm scene. So, and then this is Vineyard Summer by the Bay Needle Art. And that's it. So it's a nice little beach scene, New Englandy. Has a lighthouse. Stitch moves will like that. Seaside Sampler has a lighthouse. And then the final new one is going to be Midnight Clear by Jan Hicks. So there it is. And I may do a little bit of fun with the colors on this one, but we'll see. We'll see what I'm feeling when that one gets called. Yeah. So those are the whips, the Whipgo. Whipgo, which I don't think I mentioned. So Whipgo is it's like bingo. It was started by the lovely Jessie Marie at Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And essentially, every month, she will call two numbers. So you've got your standard bingo board, 25 squares. The middle square is a free space. And you set your board up how you'd like. Some people will do like a certain number of stitches on this project, or they do this, or they do that. That's really helpful. I'm sorry. Some people will set up like that. One year, the first year I did it, I set it up where it'd be like, oh, I'm going to do X number of stitches on this type of project. Or I will do 3 FFOs this month to try and get me to actually, do stuff with my FFOs, or with my finished objects. Because I'm not great at that. That is a character flaw. So people will pick sort of various things. What I do is I pester my friends, and I put them on the board at least once, sometimes twice. And then they tell me what project they want me to put 750 stitches on that month. And so I do. Because I will not let my friends down, or I will let myself down. So that's Whipgo. And then the Stitching Monopoly, it is a game, I'm not really sure who started it. I think it was probably Jessie Marie, because that feels very Jessie Marie. But I could be completely wrong. I'm not really even sure how to tell people to join it, because I joined it because I know one of the people who's an admin on it, and they were telling me about it. I was like, that sounds like fun, and so they added me. So, but essentially you it's like playing Monopoly, but instead of paying with money, you pay with stitches. So, yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to what I worked on felt ornament-wise. Now, last time I said I was going to be starting these hearts, but then when I discovered that Nutcracker Suite had been opened and cut into, that I decided, let me go ahead and start on that. So, I have finished the first two ornaments. So, ornament number 1 is a cupcake and a macaron. And what I'm doing on these, so I'm using 4mm sequins instead of the standard 5. So on the ones that are like candy bits, they have an iridescent sheen to them. On the things that are not candy, I'm using metallic to sort of differentiate between the two sort of ideas. I got these really cool oversized bugle beads at Michael's, and they're perfect to look like sprinkles or licorice candy if you prefer, like Mike and Ike's. And then, so I did that one, and then I've got the gingerbread house. This one has a lot more of the metallic-y ones. I did do more bling to the heart. I used 2 tones of pink for that. I added the jimmies, not jimmies, because we're not supposed to call them that, I think, anymore. I think I learned recently that was not an okay term. So forgive me for using that term. I've used it for so many years. And I'm trying to break myself of that, because when you know better, you do better. But at any rate, to be sprinkles. And then I also used more beads on the gumdrops to make them look like they were sugared. So There's the gingerbread house. These are going to be gifts for a friend of mine at work because that's much more her speed than mine. And then I got started on one of the nutcrackers, but these are very, very involved, and I'm not enjoying how they're being constructed. So I took a little bit of a break. But this one, it's in 2 parts essentially right now. So we've got the legs done, and we started on his little chest. And then I've also got his head largely done. So, turn the right way around. There we go. Again, the candy, or the purple things are because I haven't decided if I want to actually stitch like lines there or not, and it's air erasing pen, so it'll be gone by the next time you see this. Again, I did more beads and sequins on the candy parts so that it would be a little differentiated, and then metallic elsewhere. So there's the face, and it's gonna sit like that, and then this. So he will be very, very cute, but this one is a lot of little tiny pieces, and I kind of hit a wall on it. It's like, I need to do something different. So let's see. So that is what I worked on felt-wise. All right, so that brings me to the last section, which is haul. For those of you who are not interested in haul, you're certainly welcome to check on out. For those of you who are, stick around. It's not a whole lot tonight. First up is from the Frosted Pumpkin. I got the needle minder for their new Sal, which is the Fox proprietor of Toadstool Bed and Breakfast, and I forget what his name is. But then they also made little hotel-style keychains for the bed and breakfast. So I got green for early check-in because I'm one of those obnoxious people. But yeah, so I just thought it's too cute. And then I got some new felt kits from Plaid. So first one up is this one. It's super tacky. It's called Boots and Bling, and it is these cowboy boots. And while they are not my thing at all, they do look like they will be fun to make, and I am sure that I will find somebody who is interested in them. Then this cute little toadstool doorstop that has lots of potential for extra tweaks and changes. And then the second set of Christmas dog ornaments that they have, this one is called Mischievous Puppies. So you've got a Dalmatian that says, I've been naughty, and a little lab that's tangled up in lights, and a little mutt running with some garland, and another little one with a present, and a husky who's eating the cookies, and a French bulldog dangling in a wreath. So it'll be cute. The other one is a set of dogs in Christmas sweaters. It's very cute. And then finally, this is actually what I'm going to be doing with 2 of my friends from church. It is a Town of Bethlehem wreath. Because they both really, really liked it. And I said, well, here, I will get it and do it along with y'all. That way, if we run into any weirdness or you've got questions, then I'm also there as well. So it'll be wreaths aren't too difficult to work with. This one especially, I don't think is going to prove to be terribly tough at all. But there we go. All right. So that's it for me this time. I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks. And come here, buddy. Yeah, I know. I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks, that if you're in areas where you get snow and such, that you stay safe if you're in areas that don't get snow, well, then, you know, continuing on. And we will see you the Sunday before Christmas. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Can you wave goodbye, buddy? He's very sleepy. We'll see y'all next time.